Personal. Written by Lee Child. Read by Jeff Harding. The moral right of the author has been asserted. Chapter 1. 8 days ago, my life was an up-and-down affair. Some of it good, some of it not so good. Most of it uneventful. Long, slow periods of nothing much, with occasional bursts of something. Like the Army itself. Which is how they found me. You can leave the Army, but the Army doesn't leave you. Not always. Not completely. They started looking 2 days after some guy took a shot at the President of France. I saw it in the paper. A long-range attempt with a rifle. In Paris. Nothing to do with me. I was 6,000 miles away in California with a girl I met on a bus. She wanted to be an actor. I didn't. So after 48 hours in L.A., she went one way and I went the other. Back on the bus. First to San Francisco for a couple of days, and then to Portland, Oregon for 3 more, and then onward to Seattle. Which took me close to Fort Lewis, where 2 women in uniform got out of the bus. They left an Army Times behind, 1 day old, right there on the seat across the aisle. The Army Times is a strange old paper. It started up before World War II and is still going strong, every week, full of yesterday's news and sundry how-to articles, like the headlines staring up at me right then. New rules, changes for badges and insignia, plus 4 more uniform changes on the way. Legend has it the news is yesterday's because it's copied secondhand from old AP summaries. But if you read the words sideways, you sometimes hear a real sardonic tone between the lines. The editorials are occasionally brave. The obituaries are occasionally interesting. Which was my sole reason for picking up the paper. Sometimes people die, and you're happy about it. Or not. Either way, you need to know. But I never found out. Because on the way to the obituaries, I found the personal ads, which, as always, were mostly veterans looking for other veterans. Dozens of ads, all the same. Including one with my name in it. Right there, center of the page, a boxed column inch, 5 words printed bold. Jack Reacher, call Rick Shoemaker. Which had to be Tom O'Day's work. Which later on made me feel a little lame. Not that O'Day wasn't a smart guy. He had to be. He had survived a long time. A very long time. He'd been around forever. 20 years ago, he already looked 100. A tall, thin, gaunt, cadaverous man who moved like he might collapse at any moment, like a broken stepladder. He was no one's idea of an Army general. More like a professor or an anthropologist. Certainly his thinking had been sound. Reacher stays under the radar, which means buses and trains and waiting rooms and diners, which, coincidentally or not, is the natural economic habitat for enlisted men and women who buy the Army Times ahead of any other publication in the PX, and who can be relied upon to spread the paper around like birds spread seeds from berries. And he could rely on me to pick up the paper. Somewhere. Sooner or later. Eventually. Because I needed to know. You can leave the Army, but the Army doesn't leave you. Not completely. As a means of communication, as a way of making contact, from what he knew, and from what he could guess, then maybe he would think 10 or 12 consecutive weeks of personal ads might generate a small but realistic chance of success. But it worked the first time out, 1 day after the paper was printed. Which is why I felt lame later on. I was predictable. Rick Shoemaker was Tom O'Day's boy, probably his second in command by now. Easy enough to ignore.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?